All right, what is up, ladies and gents? Jason Ward, Ward's Way to Fitness here, coming at you with another What Diet Is This Wednesdays, or WDWs, as I think I might start calling it. So today's topic is flexible dieting. So for those of you who do not know what flexible dieting is, it kind of started as a movement or with the If It Fits Your Macros crowd, which you may or may not be familiar with. And the idea is that you don't have any foods that are off limits. You just have to make them fit into your macros. So essentially, you calculate how many calories you're allotted each day. It's kind of like a budget. And then you figure how much protein you need, and then carbs, fats, based on preference. This does allow for a great deal of choice in your dietary habits because literally no food is off limits. All you have to do is put it into your calorie tracker, however you're doing that. So if you're using MyFitnessPal or whatever, and make sure that it fits in your overall calories and macronutrients for the day. This is good for some people, definitely, because you can tailor to your preferences a lot more easily. It can create a healthier relationship with food. All honesty, I think a lot of us have a pretty terrible relationship with food. This food's good, this food's bad, yada, 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 blah, blah, blah. As you know from if you've watched any of my previous videos, I hate the idea that there are good and bad foods. I don't think that that's a view that we should have on food. I think there are more appropriate foods for some people than for others, and assessing what your dietary preferences and tolerances are super important. With the ability to incorporate any foods that you want can often come an increased adherence to your diet. This is another potential benefit for flexible dieting. They just sheer volume of choice means no matter what foods you like, you can make them fit and get the calories and macros that you need. This can also create more awareness of your food choices. So particularly if people are eating out, most people now are much more aware that when they eat out, they're eating between 2 to 3 times as many calories for that meal as if they prepped it themselves. And that's just because they try to make the food taste as good as possible in a restaurant. It's all part of the experience, right? They want you to come back. They want you to keep buying their food. And so they're going to make it taste as good as they can, right? So that's all of what I would see as the pros with flexible dieting. Pretty easy diet to follow, right? But some of the cons. So you do have to track your food. So if you're a person that just doesn't feel like they have the time or doesn't want to put in the effort to track the foods that you're taking in, then this will be problematic. Because if you're not paying attention to what you're putting in, then you can very easily overeat on more highly palatable foods, which gets into another potential negative. Because you can make anything fit, you may be tempted to utilize more of what people would label as like junk foods. And as I have already stated, I don't believe that there are necessarily junk foods or that there is bad food. You really shouldn't be labeling things as good or bad. But they are of lower nutrient quality. So you can't base your entire diet around these things. So one of the big jokes when If It Fits Your Macros really started was like, the one thing that your diet's been missing has been Pop-Tarts, right? I don't know where that came from. I don't know why that was the joke, but Pop-Tarts are very easy to fit in your macros. They're mostly carbohydrates, so it just kind of became like that go-to food that a lot of like flexible dieters were utilizing to kind of help them adhere to their diet. This over-reliance on these low-quality foods can lead to micronutrient deficiency. So it's something that you're just not going to be paying attention to. And the micronutrients, as I have discussed before, are extremely important. If you're not getting all the ones that you need, then your workouts are going to suffer and your training's not going to be as efficient. You will have problems reaching your goals. All right? So that's some of the pros and cons. I'm a big fan of flexible dieting overall because I feel like anybody really can do it and make it fit into their lifestyle. But as I said, it does require some awareness. And at the very least, when you first start with flexible dieting, you need to be very diligent in tracking until you have a much better idea of how much is in each of the foods that you tend to want to eat. So, but once you are more experienced and maybe you've hit your goal and now you just want to maintain, then flexible dieting becomes probably the best option because you're going to be able to incorporate whatever foods that you feel you've been missing over the last however weeks or months you've been dieting. So for most of my clients, that is what I recommend, is a flexible dieting approach. If they don't want to track, then we'll look at other potential ways of managing calories, carbohydrates, fats, proteins, all that stuff. So that's about all I have to say on flexible dieting. Pretty easy one, not a lot to get into there. It's a super simple concept. So if you like the video, please don't forget to like the video, subscribe to my channel, hit the little bell notification so you'll be notified anytime I post up new content, like next Wednesday for next what Diet Wednesdays. That was not going to roll off my tongue this morning. And other content obviously coming as well. So I'll talk about the training and that sort of thing from time to time too. Hopefully you guys are enjoying the content. I will talk to you next time. Have a great day, guys.